Director of Critical Care, Fortis Hospitals, Mumbai, and a member of Maharashtra COVID Task Force. Doctor, the fact that, an average Joe in India, like say me and my colleague Bilan there, would possibly only look at being vaccinated in the next 6-7 months. That is, if we're lucky and the timeline keeps. But the fact that the vaccination drive will start, the fact that, our frontline workers would be vaccinated, our elderly would be getting vaccinated soon, it will really cut the scope of infection, will it not?
Absolutely. I think you are spot on that. So there is a population right now, even before the vaccination has started, which has got COVID-19 and must be carrying some antibodies. And if we believe this last Zero survey reports, which was around 4 months ago in August, we had a population which was around 6.7%. And the next Zero survey would probably increase the population a little bit more, maybe up to 15-20% or whatever it is. And now when we are actually going to have this critical mass of 30 crore people, which includes healthcare workers, frontline workers, and the elderly with comorbidities, then we will have a substantial amount of population which would be carrying antibodies either by the virtue of they having disease, they having had the disease, beg your pardon, or they have been vaccinated. And it would definitely bring down the number of new COVID infections. There is no doubt about that. And obviously, the vaccination process would continue beyond these 30 crore people as well. Now, I heard somebody say that not everybody may get vaccinated. It's a big may. We don't know. It's a dynamic process. As we go across and we see how the vaccination is actually being effective in bringing down the numbers and wiping out the virus, that's how we will be deciding whether the entire population would get vaccinated or not. As of now, of course, we are thinking that we may not need to vaccinate the entire population, and we would sort of achieve the concept of herd immunity, which has been talked about in the medical and research circles, which would basically mean that a substantial amount of population has basically got antibodies, and now we don't need to vaccinate the rest of the population, and they get sort of immunity because the virus does not spread anymore after that.
All right, but Dr. Pandit, when do we now see because, conditional approval has been given, when do we actually see the first round of vaccination beginning?
So I believe that, this is from the media, I'm hearing that the conditional approval has been given. We don't even know what the conditions have been laid up. And it is now up to the DCGI, is what again I'm hearing from the media, that the ball is basically in DCGI's court as to how it is going to give the final nod for it to roll out. Now, we don't have a few clarities yet on this, what dose, whether the 2 doses interval is going to be few weeks, or is it going to be as the UK basically allowed it to be around 12 weeks or so. So those things need to be looked at before we can actually say that how the actual rollout will go across. What we know for sure is that tomorrow there is a dry run which is happening across the state capitals, across the country and union territories, which seems to be the right logical step to do so that we can actually teeter out the initial problems and then put in policies and structures so that these problems are not repeated when the actual vaccination process starts. So these dry runs are extremely important. I see it's probably going to be a few days. If the DCGI approval indeed comes through, the conditional approval comes through, and those conditions are easily met by the vaccine producers, then it should not take too long, because we are already doing the dry run tomorrow and we could see it happening in the next week or two.